If you've ever wanted to put God and country in their right place, today's scripture is going to make a difference to you. In this video, we're going to review the story of Daniel and see how Daniel's faithfulness in light of the wrong politics shows through. Then we're going to see 3 ways to be patriotic to country and still serve God. Welcome to Scripture That Makes a Difference. If you're like most of us, you appreciate some help seeing how the Bible makes life better today. And you're in the right place. This is my study. I'm Pastor Mike. I've been a preacher and a Bible teacher for over 20 years, and I believe Scripture makes a difference no matter who you are or where you live. And I just love to help people see how. And that's why this channel is called Scripture That Makes a Difference, because all the videos in this channel aim to show how each passage makes a difference today. Now, if this is your first time here, you can learn more about this channel in the description below. And if you find you like hearing how the Bible makes a difference today, just click the subscribe button and you'll get more. And if you want to, you can read the passage I'm going to be speaking on. There's a link in the description below to Daniel chapter 1. Just pause the video and read that ahead of time and come back when you're finished. You may be like me and have heard of the church being criticized for being too patriotic, for being too nationalistic and feeling like the United States is the only part of the world that really matters, or being too tied to political politics, where one political party is favored, and if you don't follow that political party, maybe you just don't fit in this particular church. So how do we express patriotism in the modern church? Well, the Bible just happens to give us a great example. This issue of patriotism among the faithful goes way back. It goes all the way back to the Old Testament character of Daniel, the prophet who wrote right when Jerusalem was falling and the time of the Gentiles was beginning. Now, if we look closely at Daniel chapter 1, we see that he has a pretty impressive pedigree. He was actually a descendant of King David, probably even a descendant of King Hezekiah, and would have been one of those being groomed as he grew older to take a political position in the kingdom of Judea. So he had a lot to lose during the deportation. His rights as a nobleman, his future as a Jew, and his hopeful income and outcome of all of his life pretty much dissolved. But in the middle of the chapter, we see Daniel's faithfulness. When he was chosen to become a trainee for political position in the Babylonian Empire, he decided to be faithful to his king, Yahweh God. The issue was the food that he was provided with. It had been prepared by Gentiles and was Gentile-style food. We don't know if there was a lot of pork involved or if there was something about it, the way it was prepared, that kept it from being acceptable to God and keep from defiling him. But he had identified something about the food to say, if I eat this, I'll no longer be acceptable to God. And so I choose not to do that. He went, though, to the chef instead of protesting in front of all the political figures and the other people in the government college and even the army or military. He went instead behind the scenes to the chef and said, "This is my problem. What can we do to fix it?" And the chef apparently liked Daniel and would have liked to have helped him out, but was worried that if he didn't fatten up like the other government officials being trained, that somehow Nebuchadnezzar wouldn't like that and possibly even separate the chef's head from his shoulders. And so Daniel proposed a test. He said, for 10 days, let us eat nothing but vegetables, and then you look and you do what you think is best. And apparently, after 10 days of eating vegetables instead of the rich royal food, Daniel looked better than all the other classmates. And the chef agreed to continue to feed him the vegetables and help him to grow that way. And he did grow, so much so that when Nebuchadnezzar came at the end of the 3 years, he saw Daniel and his 3 friends as so much greater than the other people in the graduating class that he actually took them aside and put them in his own cabinet to help govern at the international level of this empire. Now, the principle I see in this is that Daniel put honoring God over honoring the government. He could have chosen to honor the nation of Israel and resisted everything that Babylon was trying to do, or he could have honored Babylon as his new ruler. But instead, he honored God. He put himself in a position where God could decide, and he determined ahead of time to do what God revealed. And what God revealed was to have an appetite, a diet that would honor him and point to the Israelite background that he had in his life. And we can be like Daniel. We can submit to the government authorities, like Paul says in Romans 13, where we're supposed to submit to the kings and those in governing roles. But we can also pray for those people, like Paul says in 1 Timothy chapter 2. Praying with holy hands raised and asking God to guide them so that we can live peaceful and quiet lives. But I see a third thing that we can do to be patriotic as well. We can hasten the return of our real King. You see, in Mark chapter 13, verse 10, Jesus tells us that the gospel must be proclaimed to all people. And in Matthew chapter 24, verse 14, he expands on that and says that not only does the gospel need to be proclaimed to all people, but that after that, where he says, and then the end will come. In other words, the king's not going to return until we proclaim his gospel so that all the people can understand it. And Peter clears up a little bit of the confusion in chapter 3, verses 11 through 13, where he asks what kind of people we ought to be as we live in righteousness and holiness, accelerating the return of our King. Now, this might not stop people criticizing the church from being too political, but it will reflect Jesus better through our lives to those who are watching. And it will enable us to stand with some dignity, some confidence when the King actually does return. And we can say that we have been patriotic to his kingdom all along. And any passage that makes us more balanced citizens of whatever country we live in is scripture that makes a difference. So what's your takeaway from this passage? Please put that in the comments down below. And please leave other comments and questions as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'll respond just as soon as I get the chance. And you can make suggestions for future topics as well. And if you've gained any value by watching this video, please click that thumbs up button. And if you like hearing how specific passages make a difference today, click the subscribe button and click the bell so that you'll be the first to know when I release a new episode. And you can help get the difference-making message of the scripture to others simply by sharing this on your favorite social media. And if you ever happen to be in Enid, Oklahoma, or live near there, please come by and visit us. Our address is on our Facebook page. I've left a link to that down below. Our services happen at 10 o'clock every Sunday morning, and I hope you'll come by and see us soon. And until next time, remember this: God is in control no matter what political party governs.